So we're in near enough the second week in January now, and fish are looking fine. We're running at 6.4 degrees in the pond and 6 degrees air temperature, so it's not too bad. One thing about being enclosed is that it does stop your fluctuations. It's really good for, you know, I seem to come up temperature very slowly and come down temperature very slowly and hold temperature really well. It does take the spikes out being enclosed. The only thing you do have to put up with is the condensation. Can be a nightmare in the summer, but it's worth it. Fish are looking great. So yeah, roll on the spring and get some food into them. So one of the disadvantages of having a fully covered in pond is that when it snows, you got all the snow left on your roof. Well, if you leave all that on the roof, the temperature inside will absolutely plummet. So we better get that off quick. So yeah, got the hosepipe rigged up. Luckily, when we redid the kitchen, I put in a hot water tap outside, so this is brilliant. And literally, we're just going to melt the snow off the top, back to the polycarb. So yeah, that's half of it done. Let's get this little bit done now, we'll be finished. That's it then, all sorted. That'll make a hell of a difference today, that will. If I left all that snow on there, that temperature inside the filter ice in the pond will just absolutely plummet, and then obviously that'll fluctuate the water temperature terribly. But yeah, it's quite pretty this morning. Yeah, don't mind a bit of snow, but there we go, job done. Right then guys, I had a few messages, direct messages and a couple of comments on the YouTube videos about my auto top-up that I have on my Nexus. I'll just spin you around now and we'll take a look. So, it's as simple as you could get really. That is a toilet valve, you know, out of a cistern of a toilet. Not quite. They're the ones that come in sideways into the back of a toilet, and then you must have a rod that pushes down on there, almost like the style with a push button in the top that pushes down on that there. But yeah, these are great. You can get them from Screwfix. They're a brilliant bit of kit. I've just got mine mounted on a bit of plastic. I think that is an old screw box that some screws come in, and I've literally just chopped it off at a right angle, give it a bit of strength. It was good thick plastic. I think this was actually a set of screws that you'd like put your sleeper ponds together with. The big massive 10-inch long screws, 8-inch, 10-inch screws that you put sleeper ponds together with. It was one of them, so chopped that up and it's made a bit of an L bracket and just mounted that on with a hosepipe connection. You can, this part here has got a screw, and that's threaded. It's threaded down in there into the blue bit, which is the float, and then obviously that will can set the height of your pond. So that's how I set this up. It's pretty simple. It's run off of my tap just there that I have come in. I have that's me crank set in to set me to be really slow to run through me 2 3-stage dechlorinators. This first one has got just the like the 5 micron mesh, and then the other 5 have all got carbon inserts in them. So basically I'm trying to make the water do the hardest work as it can possible, and it seems to work fine on my pond. I mean, I'll probably upgrade to a big blue at some point, but it seems to be doing a fine job. I change them 3 or 4 times a year, and yeah, never really seem to have chlorine issues. So yeah, then that runs up to the toilet valve, and then literally as the pond drops, that'll activate, and then you'll hear that hissing, which is letting water in. So yeah, super simple really, and then obviously float rises back up and turns the valve off and sets the height of the pond. One thing I have been doing lately is the cleaning of the middle section of my Nexus. I've been leaving it and leaving it and leaving it because they're not getting fed now, these fish. So this is literally getting cleaned maybe once a week, twice a week, depending on how it looks. I normally look at the difference between the levels there. And that middle pipe's a good gauge for me on my Nexus, the way I've got it set up. If the pond water there and I stop seeing the K1 flowing over that middle pipe, I know that outer level's dropped down a little bit and that's getting blocked. Don't get me wrong, in the summer, my routine is to clean this every other day. It works well for me. Yeah, it's a little bit of maintenance, but I come into the pond, into the filter shed, every day, so by the time I've swung round and looked at the fish and seen what they're doing, I've stuck the middle pipe in and I've given it a clean. This thing's nuts. This will hand feed even at 6 degrees if it wanted to. One other thing that I didn't actually mention when I was talking through my pond is one of the brilliant things I was put on to are these Tapu plugs. The Wi-Fi plugs. Now I've got 2 banks of lights in here. I've got the light there that does the pond, and then I've got 2 lights here which are joined together to does the filter shed. Those are invaluable, the Tapu plugs. I set timers on them, you can turn them off and on your phone. They're flipping brilliant. If there's one little gadget that I'd add to your pond, stick a set of Tapu plugs on, because it can, even if you just had maybe some lights outside shining over the pond, you can keep an eye on it on a night time. I have mine set that they come on at about 4:30 in the afternoon this time of year, and then they click off about 7 o'clock. It's just nice to come home and be able to look straight in the pond without coming out and turning the lights on. And to be fair, the fish get into a bit more of a routine of the light. And they know that when the light goes off, that's sort of like night time. But they do, when it was still feeding a little bit, they knew that when the light come on, it was someone was going to appear before long and give them their tea, basically.